Going on, guys? Look, I know we're still going through this pandemic, but don't let that stop you from caring about your health. I hear, but Ben, most gyms are closed. How am I supposed to work out? Well, there's so many ways you can get ahead in your fitness journey without a gym. Use your body, move around, modify exercises, or get your own free personal trainer from stnutrition.com with any purchase of any supplement. This personal trainer book was written by DLB, Dana Lynn Bailey, while preparing to compete in the Arnold Classic competition. And no, you don't have to do everything to a T in this book, but you use it as a guide to keep you accountable every single day. It starts in January or December and goes all the way towards March. So you have a lot of months worth of workouts. This book is totally free without or with any purchase of any supplements during this holiday season. So visit stnutrition.com and support Strong Tavern Nutrition and grab a free Dana Lynn Bailey personal trainer. Today's guest is an entrepreneur. She's been in the fitness and health world or industry for about 11 years, and she's been taking her time to help people get past those emotional eating habits. And now she has taken a different path and turned to her creative side, entering the world of photography. So you can follow her journey by following her on Facebook or Instagram. Her Facebook is Melissa Boleslawski. And on Instagram, she's _Melissa_Boleslawski_. So please welcome today's guest, Melissa Boleslawski. It's my foundation. It's my faith. It's my work ethic. It's my drive. It's everything that I've tried to build for myself that has made me who I am. I'll do what it takes to make you believe. But why don't we start off with, I just saw your transitioning careers, so let's start with like your nutrition. Like, what even got you into like fitness and nutrition in the first place?
Oh my gosh, it was a random happening. I took a nutrition course in college, and you first go into college and you don't really know what you want to do. So you start checking out different classes. And I took a basic nutrition course and I fell in love. However, prior to that, I have just kind of naturally grown up into this lifestyle where I was always hanging out with the guys when I was younger, playing sports. So like I was considered the quote unquote tomboy. So it was very physical activity. There wasn't much with the food. I didn't really pay attention to food, in the super young age, but I was always very physical. So I think there was just that natural liking towards health, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because then that all led to, like you went to school for it and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you became like
Absolutely.
a trainer, and that's where we met and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What led you to like really do that?
Yeah. So this is probably one of my favorite all-time stories, like the beginning part of it, where it all started. I went to the University of Delaware and I went to nutrition over there, or I took up nutrition over there. At the time, I got a job at a local gym. It was this small little hometown gym in the middle of Newark, Delaware, on the main street, main drag over by University of Delaware. I think it was called Fusion Fitness Center.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still there. I think it may be. But I started off as a smoothie girl there. So I was working the front desk, checking everybody into the gym. And I was watching the trainers and I was watching my boss at the time and just the type of impact that they had on the individual's life of whom they were training. And that just kind of really sparked my interest into the fitness world. So that's really like how it all began. And then I personally got really hooked into it. And I don't know how much you know of my personal story, but there was a time where fitness was really fun and it was this passion, and then it took a downturn into an obsessive culture in the nutrition and fitness space, if that also makes sense to your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so after you became like a personal trainer, what kind of moved you into hey, I want to do nutrition and I want to focus on like the emotional side of it. Like what makes
Mm-hmm.
you, why do people eat emotionally? What took you from one thing to the other?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I was in that college time frame where I really started to, fall in love with the personal training aspect, and I was diving more into, of course, my nutrition degree. And oh my gosh, how old? I don't even know how old I was. Somewhere around my 20s or young 20s. But it became something that was healthy at first. And then it became, like I just kind of mentioned, this obsession and kind of something negative for me. So, you know, as a female, just in today's society, I always harp on this. We're really pressurized to look a specific way. And I do also believe the male counterpart is also kind of pressurized to look a specific way.
Hmm.
And so, there comes a point in time where you have that kind of society pressure, outside pressure, and then you also have life circumstances happen. For me personally, I was in and out of unhealthy relationships with men. And when we get ourselves in specific emotional situations, we want to cope in a specific way to not deal with the pain.
Hmm.
And some people tend to do, drink alcohol, use drugs, whatever. Mine was food. I took to food essentially. So, what once started off as a complete passion because I really wanted to help another individual, I saw the type of impact that it could have on someone's life, then took this turn where I started to use and abuse food to kind of soothe the pain that I was feeling when I was growing up. And that's where I really stepped into, as my career evolved, I stepped into being a nutritionist who really focused on the emotional eating aspect that comes in the world of food.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect thing for you because you experienced it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the fitness industry itself, I think a lot of people try and do things that you never experienced.
Oh my God, you have no idea.
You know,
The sorry, my apologies. My first show, right? My first bodybuilding
mhm.
show that I got into, it looked really shiny and fun from the outside. I
Oh yeah.
remember that. And then I got into it and I had no clue what I was getting into. And little did I know it made my food habits worse. So I do find that's a true belief of mine of that entire kind of side of the fitness industry is things can look really fun from the outside, but you get into it and you're like, what did I just get myself into?
Yeah, and I think that side actually helped me out because I competed too, and my
Mm-hmm.
whole world was bodybuilding,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all I had in one mindset was like, oh, I got to eat this way. There's no other way better than this way.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way to train than be a bodybuilder. CrossFit sucks and they don't do anything right, and um,
Yep.
Pilates sucks and yoga sucks and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I'm just pushing away things that I just wasn't, I haven't done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where actually I look back now, I was like, I wish I would have given those things a chance and learned about those things rather than just focus
Mm-hmm.
on what I knew. Because I look back now and like, I don't personal train anymore because I lost that passion for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just something that I just fell out of love with. Over I think I was doing 7, 8 years,
Yeah.
something like that, gym after gym, and seeing how the owners ran things and seeing how people were and dealing with people that just didn't care. And then I'm supposed to
Mm-hmm.
make them care. And I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't seem like it's supposed to be this way.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a break for a second and talk about Onward. Onward was created by Run Everything Labs for the very purpose of enhancing your mood and sustaining your energy. I've tried all the drinks from Red Bull to Monster to Bang to Rockstar, all the above. I've never felt such a good boost of energy from any of those. They lift you up and then you crash hard within a couple hours. So Onward sustains that energy throughout the day not using the crazy amounts of sugar or caffeine like those drinks do. In fact, they use all the vegan ingredients so you know it's a natural product. I love this product. I use this product on the daily, which is why we make it available to you at stnutrition.com for a lower price and free shipping. So for you podcast listeners, we give you 10% off the site by using the code STRONG, STRONG. So whatever your work may be, try onward, support Strong Tower Nutrition. Now back to the podcast. Towards photography or video or whatever you're trying to build.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, so this is, when you always kind of use that phrase, hindsight's 2020, right?
Yeah.
You look back at things and you're like, oh, there it is. Like, there's the answer. I see everything now. And like one of those situations for me with photography, when I was younger, I always had a camera in my hand. Asked my parents, they actually had to buy me a camera year after year because I kept breaking the camera because I just wasn't responsible with it. But I was always taking pictures and I always wanted to be in front of the camera. Like I was the obnoxious girl in college who would just jump in front of every photo and just photobomb it because I just wanted to be there. And so, I had that experience growing up. And then I also had another experience growing up that kind of took that love and that passion away from me. I'm a very creative individual, but it took away all of that type of creativity. I kind of blocked it off, if you will. And not to get too heavy, but, I had an experience of sexual assault as a female when I was younger. And that took away a specific type of passion that I had and a specific type of creativity. And for the past 6 years, I've just been on this entire, path of just learning how to heal my emotional wounds and whatnot, and just learn how to kind of function again as an adult, to be quite honest. And with all of that said, you get to kind of revisit, who you were when you were younger. I truly believe that there's a lot of us as adults, like there's still something that we loved when we were younger, we still love to this day, but we haven't necessarily given ourselves the opportunity to go partake in it because of responsibilities as an adult. So I just kind of refound my love for it again. And it makes sense to me now that this is the avenue to go, because I'm just somebody who sees things in a completely different way. And I love to help people shift perspective. So like what I see in my own eyes on the daily basis, it's really interesting. And I want to be able to share that. I believe photography is a way to capture the moment and capture what I get to see in my mind and kind of put it out into the world to really, enhance society, because that's my purpose and that's my passion with why I'm here with even having a business.
Yeah. So what forced the whole like career change? Because you could always do photography on the side, you know what I mean? But was there like a particular reason? Like, did you like lose passion for nutrition, or did you fall out of love with it, or what was it?
This year it was COVID.
Really?
I feel like, yeah, I feel like this whole home lockdown situation just kind of, it forced everybody to just face certain things.
Yeah.
And of course, like I've been sitting here like working on myself for 6 years, but that doesn't mean that I'm done. And so I'm here in lockdown and I'm still working on myself. And little did I know, just one day I'm just journaling and photography starts showing up on the page, because at the beginning of this year, business was hard. Like I was just trying to show up for clients and on social media, and it felt too hard. Like I didn't want to wake up in the morning to go do it. Right. So the passion wasn't there.
Yeah.
And I kept trying to fix it. And I was trying to just fix it in the incorrect way, because I'm not meant to be in the field of nutrition and working in that direct manner anymore. Yeah. So it just kind of came out of the blue, to be honest. But
So what about photography? Like besides, sharing your perspective and things like that, like what about taking pictures? Is that the only thing you do is photography? Because didn't you say you like something like video or something like that?
absolutely. So I, the type of business model that I want to have for myself is, really that in-person aspect with the photography. But then there's also going to be this teaching aspect that I do want to bring to the table, because there's so much like knowledge and wisdom inside of this little body of mine that like it would be a shame to just keep it to myself. So I want to get it out there. And kind of everything that I've been talking about thus far with emotional eating and food, everything I've, have still stood for all of these years. I will continue to stand for that and kind of speak on that. It'll just be more so coming from a teaching aspect to just be able to offer all of this for free, because I don't, there's this belief of mine of, some material out there, let it be free, but it's got to be quality. Right. I
Right.
feel like everybody is meant to have at their fingertips an understanding of how to deal with themselves mentally, how to deal
Mm-hmm.
with themselves emotionally, how to deal with themselves on a physical level. If you want to go past a certain point, cool, this is where you start paying for people and really getting that expertise. But just like in that beginning to get somebody started, I truly feel it should all be for free. So I'm going to start up a YouTube channel and just kind of sit in front of the screen, teach everything I know through pictures, video, interviews, things like that, and just be a really quality, reputable resource.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I feel the same way. The whole reason when I actually went into starting my supplement business and starting this podcast, because I pretty much started them at the same time. I was
Yeah.
like, I want to make sure that I keep my love for it, and also I'm not worried about the likes or if I'm gonna make money doing it. And as long as I keep that love for it and I just keep pushing,
Yeah.
the money will come and other opportunities will come. Just
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens. And have you ever been in a position where like you started something because you loved it, but then like, the thought of money started just taking over?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I've been in that situation plenty of times, but that's like kind of another situation I've had to like really work through this past year. It's just money.
Yeah.
I mean, God, I have a whole story behind that. But I think that because I experienced what I experienced earlier this year when it came to finances, right now I'm kind of like, screw it. Like I literally have nothing to lose. Like none of us know what we're doing anymore nowadays. Like
Yeah.
it just is it is what it is kind of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? And if
Oh.
this doesn't work out, I have so many ideas. I'll just go another way and figure it out because I always do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Do you have any like favorite photographers or anything like that? Anyone that you aspire to like try and not be like, but do their kind of work?
No,
No.
not right now. Like I'm honestly, this is so new for me. I'm diving into such just this new environment of photography.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of on information overload right now of just getting to learn about different people out there, different
Yeah.
styles, right? The actual skill, you got to hone in and master that skill. That's a craft. So no, I'm exploring and discovering right now.
Yeah, I mean it's
Yeah.
tough, because I myself like I dabble in it.
Yeah.
It runs in my family. I'm more
Oh,
big
cool.
into video. I love video and doing cinematic videos and things like that.
Yeah.
My brother actually lives in San Diego and does pictures and films for a scooter company.
Oh, cool. I had no clue. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
neat.
yeah, and his like best friends are like professional scooter riders. He's had a like tons of pictures in magazines and stuff like that, and he's gonna have a video that he did of this girl that's actually gonna be on like ABC or something like that.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh my gosh. This is so cool. Little brother, older
my
brother?
little brother. Yeah,
Little brother. Yay for
I
him.
know
Oh,
it's
that's so
crazy.
cool.
It's crazy, and that's why I pushed him. I pushed him to move out there because I was like, dude, there's so much more opportunity. Yeah,
Opportunity.
it's gonna be
Oh,
hard, but the thing, just keep doing your thing, and people are gonna see it.
yeah.
You got the right people out there to like see that kind of stuff. In Delaware, you don't have that.
So glad you said that. This has been like the conversation the past couple of weeks. Like the difference between Delaware and like, oh my Lord, in California. It's like, it truly feels like a small town now that I'm out here in California.
Yeah.
It felt like I was from Tumbleweeds, Timbuktu, Delaware. I don't
Hmm.
even know. Like, it's crazy.
Did you move out there for that reason, or was there something other reason?
There's a couple of reasons. Primarily is the weather. I really don't do well in the wintertime, and I'm
Oh
not
yeah,
about to just make myself suffer.
yeah, I hate it.
That was a big reason, but another reason was definitely opportunity. I knew there was so much opportunity out here. I knew it'd be like a or a small fish in a big pond kind of a
Hmm.
situation, but I mean, you're just gonna kind of put yourself out there, and you'll find your pocket somewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
where do you? So, like, for me, I like to take pictures of my dog. I like to take pictures of scenery
Oh,
and do videos of like nature and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
what draws you like the inspiration? Like what are you more
Yeah.
drawn to take pictures of?
Yeah. So primarily people.
Okay.
And my reasoning behind this, so what I'm working to specialize in is branding photography. So that is specifically to capture, branding elements for businesses, small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this aspect of, one, I love helping out other people, and I know businesses help so many people. So if I can help somebody with an aspect of their business to then ripple out into their crowd, that's such a win-win situation for me. But also the second thing is pictures communicate things.
Mm-hmm.
There's different forms of communications, and pictures is one of them. And I do believe that just as a society, even in business, even in the online world, we lack communication. We lack clear communication. And so, I want to be able to help somebody communicate in the form of their pictures,
Mm.
but also their words. That's kind of another aspect that I'll be teaching on, is to be able to help create clear communication, safe communication, simple communication, open communication, everything, because it's such a missing puzzle piece in a lot of the things that we all do today. And there's too much conflict that is created from lack of communication. Does that
Yeah.
make
Oh yeah,
sense?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like that's where like that photography piece comes in a little bit. Again, like the building situation, but pictures have an aspect of communication. So I'm all about it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
What is your everyday routine like?
Oh, what is it like? So I'm learning how to create a routine that really works well for me.
Okay.
So I've got the morning part down. It's like solid. So I'll wake up at like 6 in the morning, and then for 3 hours, I just kind of take to myself.
Okay.
So I always move my body. It doesn't matter. Now that I'm not in the fitness world so much, I love all forms of movement. So I
Right.
do like Pilates now and yoga and things like that. But I'll do like movement, journaling, or I'll just chill, maybe watch TV shows, snuggle my dog, do whatever, sit outside in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I'll start kind of like that first half of the day, do a block of work. It truly depends on the day. I cannot commit myself to a rigid schedule because I hate rigid schedules.
Yeah, yeah.
So I kind of do go, if I'll do what I feel like doing that day, if that makes sense. It might
Right.
not be the best business practice, but I'll do that. And then I'll do like a midday break for about 2 or 3 hours, go out for a walk again. So I've got to constantly move.
Mm-hmm.
That whole moving aspect still in my life. And then I have a chunk at night where I'll do about like a 3 hour block, 3 maybe 4 hours of a block. And then at nighttime, this is where everything gets real fuzzy, is that nighttime piece. Cause sometimes I
Right.
like working too late and
Yeah.
sometimes I'll fall asleep too early. So, it's a mix, but I'll try to close off the night with like a little nighttime routine.
Yeah, and that's what I was still wondering. I was still wondering if you were like still working out or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that, but nothing like you were
Oh,
used
for
to or
sure.
anything, right?
No.
Nah.
Oh my God. I it's so funny. When the gyms opened back up temporarily here, because I hadn't been to the gym since last year, October, September, October. So I was only doing just yoga and walking for like an entire year. I didn't pick up any weights.
Okay.
And so when our gym opened back up, I picked up a 15-pound weight and I'm like, oh, like this is heavy. I'm like, I used to lift like 50 pounds, like 100 pounds. What am I doing? It was just funny to kind of experience that difference.
Yeah, I mean it's weird because I went through a phase. I mean, I'm still kind of going through it, but where that whole bodybuilding mindset was gone, and I was
Mm-hmm.
focused in on like what can I do to grow my podcast? What can I do to grow my business? And I was like, I'm gonna take my time that I use to work out, and I'm gonna use it doing that. I'm gonna add to,
Uh,
you know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
And within a couple weeks, I just felt my mind just turn to mush.
Mm-hmm. Oh
And
man.
yeah, I mean, because that's my foundation. My foundation is from lifting. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? No matter what kind of lifting I'm doing, like lifting weights helps me move forward,
Mm-hmm.
and in every aspect of my life.
Yep.
So that was just a reminder, and I was like, oh yeah, can't do that. Gotta keep working out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because now it's not so much about what I look like, it's
Mm-mm.
about how I feel, and am I able to push past certain barriers in my life. And that's like, people joke about it and say pick things up and put them down, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
but they have no idea until you do it that it
Mhm.
makes a world of difference. In my life, that you know I just keep moving forward, or
Yeah.
else
You're just it's like it's intentional. Like you're intentional about your movement versus
yeah.
doing it for some type of it's like a proof. Like correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of when you get into that state where it's just like that one-way mind, like I got to prove something now,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you felt that. I totally felt that.
Oh, so with your whole changing to photography and that in your business realm, have you seen any like negative effects? I know it's still early.
Yeah. Yeah. Not yet. If I do, who cares?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't I don't care. Um I'm it's really interesting because right at the beginning of this year, and I was saying like business was really tough and difficult, like I was so in my mind, and I would care too much if somebody would say something against me
Mm,
or whatnot. And now I'm just kind of in this position like I don't even think that it's even a possibility. Like it just doesn't even run through my mind. I know it is a possibility, but I just don't focus on it. So, but if it does happen, I'm so sorry. Please, take your time and energy elsewhere because you're not doing yourself a service right now by trying to take me down.
yeah, exactly.
So,
So going back to like the nutrition, when you were running your whole nutrition thing,
mm-hmm,
uh, what? So what would so you if you had to give someone advice, right? You've been both. So you've been an owner of your own business,
mm-hmm,
and you've been a personal trainer at a gym. You've worked at a gym.
mm-hmm. Yep.
What your advice be to someone that wants to get into the same thing? Be like, no, just start on your own, or oh, you should start at the gym first.
Mm. Ooh, that's a great question. Oh, it's such a great question. Yeah, it's interesting that you're asking me this because I'm such a rule breaker, right? And so,
Yeah.
like, if I were to, I don't want to, like, yeah, man, what would I say? Okay, here's what I would say. Okay. I'm going to say this is my response based on what I see is kind of lacking in the industry of fitness. I would say if somebody was very intrigued by the world of nutrition and by the world of fitness, absolutely grab a mentor. Make sure that mentor is absolutely reputable
Mm-hmm.
to a T, because this is one of the biggest problems that I do see in the fitness industry. People get into it because, again, it looks shiny and it looks fun. However, I've just been in too many gyms where I've watched too many personal trainers just go through the motions with their clients, not pay attention to the actual form, not even ask specific questions to the individual, even asking if they're comfortable, right? It's just there's just too much not happening in those training sessions. And
Yeah.
I believe that definitely comes from a lack of mentorship. Someone
Mm-hmm.
just gets the NASM book or the ACE book or whatever, does their studying, takes the exam, goes to a gym, gets hired, and it's like, hey, I'm a trainer, and just starts going out on the floor.
Yeah.
Um, I would say get a mentor, somebody who you can shadow and who can also shadow you in a session and just provide helpful feedback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And somebody who's not going to mentor you in such a way of like, here are the rules, but more so communicates like, here's the principal foundations of the body and personal training, and start adding in kind of your own spin to this.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to personal training, there's a personality aspect to it too, right?
Yep.
When it comes to that
Oh
client
yeah.
trainer relationship. So you kind of have to put your own self into your style of training too.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
I would say the same thing, because if you're starting your own business from the get go, you're still you don't know a lot yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I feel like when I was in a lot of gyms, because I bounced around, and I learned everything what not to do.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, by watching people, and watching. I mean, the owners especially. You
Mm-hmm.
know, the owners. I mean, I sat and watched them, and I was just like, what? You know, and then how we all got the brunt of everything because of what the owner
Mm-hmm.
did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And now I think that's why I would say the same thing as you, because I think it's a learning lesson.
Yeah.
And you take it and you grow from it, and then you say, whoa, I remember I don't have to, can't do that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and that's the thing with me owning my own business is like, I've always wanted to own my own business, right?
Mm-hmm.
But after those, like, I've had several different jobs, a couple I have in mind, and I look at the owners and I see what they did. I saw how they treated their employees, saw how they treated their members or customers, and I was just like, dude, we can do better than that. How
Mm-hmm.
are these people owners of something and you're not? Let's make this
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I'm in the baby stages. I'm online. You know what I mean? My
Yeah.
goal is to open my actual store.
Mm.
So we're getting there.
Good luck.
Yeah.
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 Man, it's one day at a time.
Oh yeah.
One day at a time. Yeah. But I like that's kind of like it's funny that that's what you kind of mentioned of you learned what not to do. That's actually what drove me to open up my own private personal training studio
Mm,
because as you know, I was like an independent contractor in and out of studios for a while.
yeah.
But I finally got so pissed off of, the ownership and I'm like I can't do this anymore. Like there's so much that's not happening right now in
Yeah.
this place. I've got to go open up my own. So like I know who's training under me is safe. Like, oh my gosh, it's gnarly out there.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So what's it like dealing with people that you're taking pictures of and stuff like that?
I have been very lucky so far because literally a couple of them have been friends, of course, right? Close friends of mine helping
Mm-hmm.
me. But then a couple other people I have just met randomly online through a Facebook group here in San Diego. And thank God they have just been amazing people. Like we've just clicked right off the bat and there hasn't been like weird conflict, awkwardness or anything like that. It's been very natural. So I'm lucky right now. I'm
Yeah.
sure I will have different experiences along the way, though.
Yeah. So I know this is um like a passion of yours, but why did you decide to make it like a business? Because I know for me is like, even my wife asked me, she was like, you're so good at, you can take pictures and you can do video. Why don't you do that for other people? I was like, because I hate doing it for other people. You know what I
Mm,
mean? It's such a different
yeah,
animal trying to figure out what someone else is going to like rather
yeah,
than I know what I like.
yeah,
I do things so much better for myself than I would for someone else.
yeah.
You know
That
what I
makes
mean?
sense.
So
Yeah.
how is that for you?
Oh my God. I don't know. I've always been my entire time I've ever worked, I've always just I don't know. Oh, that's a great question, Ben. Oh my God. I know like one of the reasons why for here, I guess let me go to this response first and then maybe the other ones will come through. But I know what it's like to be in front of the camera. And as a woman, like this is just something a lot of women experience is like such a lack of confidence in front of that camera.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane. And when you have the right person who's like maneuvering the camera or whatever, you can help that person feel confident in that moment.
Right.
And that's, quite honest, ever since I've, started in the whole personal training industry, however many years ago, 11 years ago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
That has been just kind of like a primary goal of mine is whomever I'm working with, I want to help them build their confidence. That was a big thing when it came to personal training. Someone could go from 5 pounds to 10 pounds, boom, boost of confidence,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Physical change in their body, boom, boost of confidence. Difference of routine, in their food. They actually have breakfast now, boost of confidence. So it didn't really matter what I was specifically helping them with, the fact that I was kind of helping them achieve the confidence aspect. Right.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I got you.
so, yeah, so photos are just kind of another form of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can do that for someone, that can change their whole world.
Yeah. It really can. It really, really can.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just, it's, go ahead. Sorry.
I've talked to a girl that I went to high school with who ended up doing like the boudoir photography.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
what? I was like, what the hell got you into that? You know what I mean? But she said the same
Uh-huh.
thing. She said the same thing. She's like, Ben, you have no idea,
Yeah.
that I'm like it makes women feel sexy. You know what I mean? And they can make a calendar of them of the pictures and give it to their
Mhm.
husband, or they can take pictures, and give it to their husband or their boyfriend, whatever.
Yeah.
And and she was like, yeah, and it makes them feel really good. And she's have all types of women.
Yep.
And I was like, that's crazy. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
more power to you, because I couldn't do
Yeah.
that. You know what I mean?
It's okay. It's a gift. I think it's a gift because like your camera doesn't lie. And
Nah,
a lot of
yeah,
the people, when they stand in front of the camera, they're just frozen. They're like, what do I do?
yeah,
And so, so like you do have to be a special person on the other end to just help them feel comfortable.
right.
And that's just also been like a whole other foundation in my career, no matter what I'm doing. That's another like gift of mine. Like the moment I come in contact with somebody, and I've been told this multiple times, they just feel very comfortable with me, like right off the get-go. They
Hmm.
like, I could be a complete stranger off the street and like they would say something like that to me. So I just think it's a gift. And right now, that vehicle, that gift, whatever, it's going to be portrayed out through photos. It could change in another 11 years and I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I mean, exactly. As long as you're doing something that you love doing, and
Right.
that's what I tell people all the time is like, I'm such a big believer in that.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you like, I have a regular like 9 to 5 job, but I get to do things that I love doing. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that makes going to that 9 to 5 job just like that much easier,
Yeah.
because I know
Yeah.
that I'm doing something that I love to do.
Yeah.
Even though it's not my
Passion.
like, I'm not making money doing it. It's not my life yet, but I still have fun and I still get to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy myself. And then people that I work with, I tell them that and they're like, "Oh, because they're putting all this time into this job that doesn't care about them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, working overtime. I'm like, for what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Take that time, like, unless you really need the money, but most of
Mm-hmm.
them don't. It's just because they ain't got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
But I was like, take that time and
There's
go
a
do something.
passion.
Right. Yeah. I mean, take that
There's
time
a
and go do
passion.
something that you love to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care
That's
what
a
it is.
that's a problem now. Adults don't know what they like to do anymore.
Mm.
Because like it goes back to what I was saying earlier, the whole responsibility thing, right? We just like start inundating our mind with I have this responsibility, I have this responsibility. Of course, you're always going to have the responsibility. You just want to live a life full of responsibilities, or do you want to have your responsibilities and then go do stuff that you actually enjoy at the same time and make your responsibilities worthwhile?
Yeah. And also, you got to take risks. You gotta risk certain things.
Mm-hmm.
People think they're so secure in what they're doing, where you're not really, because that job or something can happen like that. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
But once you want something, when something happens, once you want to be doing something that you love doing,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Absolutely.
That's just the way I see it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But have you ever gotten any like professional photos done of you or anything like that?
I have, yes, I
Okay, so
have.
you know what it's
And
like to be on the other side.
I
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
And I have experienced like some photographers that I didn't feel comfortable with or didn't really do much.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was very timid in front of the camera. So like
Yeah.
I've had that experience in front of the camera. I would just sit there and kind of be super timid. And then other moments where I felt so confident and just had like a blast in front of the camera. So it's kind of interesting. I've experienced a lot of it.
Yeah, but that's such a cool thing that you can make people feel comfortable with you, because that's one thing,
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know. I wish I could kind of do that, but I don't like taking pictures of people because then I hear them like
Mm.
whine and complain. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I don't want to deal with that. I take pictures
Yeah.
of trees and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I take pictures
Nature's
of landscape. Oh my
beautiful.
gosh,
So beautiful.
sunrise and sunset, like any kind of like
Mhm.
scenic or landscape view or something like that. It's just that's my area. You know, that's what
Yeah.
I love doing. Or I take
Yeah.
pictures of myself. You know, because I
Yeah.
know I can comply.
I like that. Or even your wife, or even a few friends, or whatever. Even
Yeah.
animals are fun to shoot. I did a photo shoot for
Uh,
a dog collar company. Oh my god, I had a blast shooting the dogs. So, I mean, I'm a dog lover, so it kind of just
yeah.
works.
How do you go about reaching out to people like that? Because do they feel confident? Do they look at your work without you even telling them, like, hey, I just actually just started?
So that's what I'm saying. Like I made a post in a local group here in San Diego, and I just put it out there. I was like, I'm offering 3 low-cost sessions. Who wants to take them? And 3 people snagged them up. They didn't even ask for any of my work.
Oh,
They didn't
wow.
even know me. They didn't even know people who I'm acquainted with out here. Like nothing. And I was just shocked. I'm like,
Wow.
wow, these people, okay, there's just people who trust like this. So I'm just going to lean into it. And they were amazing people to work with. They were great.
Wow, that's crazy.
Isn't it?
They just went out
You're
on a
like,
limb. Yeah.
it's one of those things that's like, it's unexplainable. You can't explain that.
Right.
So cool though. It was so cool. So I thank them so much because they have started to build my portfolio. And now I'm starting to learn like, okay, how am I going to market myself? Because it's a little bit different of how I was
Mm.
marketing myself before. So
Yeah. Do you do anything with like your nutrition and photography together, or are they just two separate things for you?
no, they're going to be 2 separate things. I mean, I can definitely see myself working with a lot of wellness coaches,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or other nutritionists or personal trainers who want photos for their business because I know the space. I feel comfortable, like kind of being in that atmosphere. I also have also paid attention to so many fitness photography before, like when
Yeah.
I was just in that.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of start to understand the style. I would love to, I'd be open to it, but I don't think I'll mesh my two together.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Um, is it hard to do like photography like during COVID and stuff, like of people?
Again, I have been super lucky of the people who have said yes to these photography sessions. They've been just very open, and we take our precautions. Everything's outdoors. I
Right.
actually personally don't like shooting indoors either,
Mm.
so I'd rather use nature. So everything is outdoors. It hasn't posed to be a problem, but I also just started it. So that, right, I could find out new information in the next month for all I know.
Yeah. Did you ever think about like what kind of photographer you were gonna be? Because there's so many different things. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you got like a wedding photographer, stuff like that. You ever thought about doing weddings or something like that?
No, thank you.
I know.
That's where you start getting into like needy
Oh
people
my
and like,
gosh.
oh yeah. So, and no, no harm to wedding photographers or those who have gotten their photos done before, but it's just a very stressful day. So no, thank you.
Oh no.
Um, no thank you with babies or anything like that. Like I truly just want to
Yeah.
stick with businesses, and possibly animals too, and that's probably it.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's more
Yeah.
room for creativity in that.
Yeah.
You know, there's not too
Yes.
much that hasn't already been done in like weddings and taking pictures of little kids and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But
Yeah.
if you're doing things for like different businesses, there's going to be so many different kinds of businesses that you
Yep.
can like create a certain photo for.
Yes.
So I
That
think
and
yeah.
that's it's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the branding aspect, because I get to use my creative skills more, right? Because that's the whole object, is to make it look unique and to have you stand out from another business who may be your competitor.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh, it's weird because like a lot of people don't even have like one thing they're driven or like passionate about,
Mm-hmm.
but you've had a couple things. You
Very
know what I mean?
multi-passionate.
So
Yeah.
what like kind of drives you? What's something deep like that really drives you to like hey, I got to be like this the one of the best nutritionists, or I got to be like the best photographer. You know what I mean?
What drives me? Oh my God. That man, I think this is where I'm going to get kind of unexplainable. I don't even know. So I don't even know. I'm not gonna dive into this too much because I don't know if you know much about this or even your audience, but human design. Have you ever heard those terms before?
Yeah.
You have.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. So I'm a manifester by human design,
Mhm.
and I do totally believe in the aspect of human design. And as a manifester, something very special about us is just we have ideas. They just fire off. Like
Right.
they fire off so rapidly, it's ridiculous. Like today, I probably had 10 different ideas for 10 different things. Do I act on these ideas all the time? No. But just like ideas are just constantly rolling through my mind. That's why I always kind of say I'm a creative person. But the drive behind maybe like the aspect of a business and I've built a couple of things from the ground up now, I guess I would say, right?
Mhm.
Where does that drive come from?
Yeah, because
You may
it
have
takes something different. It takes something
it
different to
does.
really like keep moving that forward. Whereas other people may quit if they don't see the right results. If they don't see what they want, they might quit.
Yeah. That's a I don't know.
Is it
That's
just
a
like the
great
type of is
question.
that your personality? Is that like the type of person you are?
I mean, ever since I can remember, I've just I've naturally picked up things very easily.
Mm-hmm.
I've always noticed that growing up. And I always give like my full effort. Like I'm just like this natural person who like wants to give full effort. I mean, I definitely grew up in a household who modeled, consistency, determination, hard work. Like my
Mm-hmm.
father imprinted that within me. And so it might just be kind of like my upbringing, just like that natural environment that I was in. And which is why it's kind of a natural thing for me to do now because it doesn't feel like effort for me. I know for some it probably feels like a ton of effort,
Yeah.
right, to build a business from the ground up, but it doesn't feel like that massive effort. I don't That's probably the best response I can give because I don't know, man.
That's
That's like,
crazy.
oh
That means it's
man,
just in
you
you.
stumped me.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
it's
you
just in
stumped
you.
me today. Yeah. I never worked well with bosses. This is another thing I knew growing
Mm-hmm.
up. I always defied the bosses, defied the rules. Like I remember one time I got fired from a restaurant, and I don't know if you ever worked in a restaurant before, but the dishwasher section was full of dishes one night after work, and I got fired that night. And I got so pissed off, and I just took all the dishes and I just threw them on the ground
Oh
because that
man.
was just I know that was just me. Um, yeah, I just hated working for other people, and I just always loved to just run with my own rhythm.
Yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like for me, I'm the opposite.
Mm,
I was a totally different person when I was younger. And I think the more I think about it, I just have so much to prove.
mm,
And for a lot of people that knew me back then to change their mind, I could say to myself, like, oh, I don't care what people think, blah, blah, all I want. But I think deep
mm-hmm,
down, I'm just like, yo, I'm going to show you,
mm-hmm,
because something in me, I mean, it just happened. I don't know if it was bodybuilding, but that's when it started. When I started
mm,
getting into bodybuilding and, my mindset just really changed from like, oh, I don't care. Anything can happen. I just don't care.
mm-hmm,
I didn't care about my family. I didn't care about school. I didn't care about nothing but myself.
mm,
Sometimes I didn't even care about
mm.
myself.
Yeah.
But then getting older, I just I don't know, this mindset just happened to me, and I just became driven. I was like, I gotta find what, I'm meant for,
Yeah.
and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And I don't know. I think that's what drives me, is just that, like, I'm gonna prove this to my parents. I'm gonna prove this to my grandparents. I'm gonna show them, like, you ever thought I was gonna do something different? Guess you're
Hmm.
wrong. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep doing it. And it's
Yeah.
like, no one's ever told me anything negative or anything like that. I don't have like the naysayers and stuff. I
Hmm.
can see it in their face.
Yeah.
I can see it in, my friend's face, and, people that knew me in high school's face, and just stuff like that, because they knew how I was back then.
Hmm.
And they probably think I'm the same person. But, if I prove them wrong and they see what I'm doing, they're going to be like, oh shit. Like, he
Hmm.
wasn't lying. And secretly inside, I think that's really what I want.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm just like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you like that? You know what I mean?
That's a natural that's a natural motivator for a lot of people. I had that same sense of motivation.
Yeah.
um I will say that's like one thing I did want to say about like the whole bodybuilding industry. As many cons as there are, like
Mm-hmm.
I do see one pro that a lot of people have mentioned. Like, it does do something to you because you have to have such a sense of discipline,
Yeah.
right? And such a sense of commitment. And so you change from that as a person so much. And so, like, naturally, your mindset kind of starts changing and whatnot. Um, so, like, I know you kind of mentioned it, but I do believe bodybuilding sometimes can like turn a switch on for people kind of in that aspect. But yeah, motivation as like that prove, like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. Totally, I had that before too, man.
It's a crazy feeling. I kind of wish I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that, but it's
Mm-hmm.
something that you can't help.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
You know what I
It's
mean?
so a little human behavior here for a second, if you want to know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the first part of how motivation shows up. Is we do kind of get in that realm of like, I want to prove something, whether it's you want to prove something to yourself, prove something to your family, prove something to somebody else, or just prove that you can build a freaking business
Mm-hmm.
because it's challenging. um it's such a strong motivator for people. And so it works. Food for thought: in the future, in a couple years, you're going to have a different motivator. You'll have
Oh,
this
of
strong motivator now. Yeah, you'll have a different one in the future. Oh, shit.
of course. And I think, when you reach certain goals, I think that's when your mindset changes, your motivation changes, your drive changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Um, like, for everything that you do you have like a why? Like, why you started in the first place, or anything like that?
Mm, yeah. Why did I? So that why has definitely like shifted and changed.
Oh, of
Like
course.
that first why was because I didn't want women to have to go through the type of pain that I was going through.
Ooh.
I knew like the deep, dark days of when, you're just like overindulging on food, or you're like retracting food from your body and you're like, you're not allowed to eat. And that's super dark for somebody.
Mm.
And so that was my motivator at first. I wanted to help eliminate that type of pain from someone's life. And recently, like, and this is kind of part of that switch going into photography too, is I have such a completely different motivator. Like, it's, I kind of talked about like, first we kind of want to I did this actually in the live the other day. I talked about like, we essentially want to run away from our pain, or like
Mm-hmm.
that is our motivator.
Yeah.
And then there comes a point in time where it no longer motivates us the way that we were before, and now pleasures the motivator.
Mm-hmm.
So now I just want to, I don't want to have a business unless it's also going to help humanity and society in some other way.
Right.
Sure, I'm like photographing people, but I also, like, what I'm doing also needs to help some stranger out on the street, or, some organization over here.
Mm-hmm.
So that is now my motivator, because I know, when you have money and businesses create money, that money can go outwardly out into society, into areas that actually need it. So
Yeah.
that's like my biggest motivator now.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. Like, because with me, that's what I do the podcast for. That's why I started
Yeah.
it. You know, I know a lot of people that really interest me. And it's just like, I want to give them like a place to talk. You know what I'm
Mm,
saying? While also like building something for myself that people can come and listen to and be like, oh, I know Ben, he's got so and so on his podcast.
yep.
And they said something like so profound, like is that, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I've had people message me saying like, oh, that person you had this week like really hit me in the heart, you know? And I was like, that's why I do it, man. You
Yeah.
know, uh because they do something for me too, which is why, you know, I want to talk to people like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's because
Mm-hmm.
we all have different perspectives of things. We all like do different things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just very open minded to what, you know, people have to say and what they've been through
Yeah.
and their experiences.
Yep.
So I
Yeah.
think that's, I mean, I think it's the coolest thing to, you know, and that's why I do this. I do it for, you know, people that don't really get to talk to anyone about anything, you
Mm.
know, and they can see other people or maybe going through something that they're going through. They're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh wow, they went through the same thing,
Yep.
you know, and they can relate. It's just the
Yeah.
little things.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's totally little things, right? And everyone in the equation is winning.
Yeah.
Like that's my thing nowadays. Like if somebody in the equation is not winning, we need to restructure this to where everyone's winning,
Mm-hmm.
because there's no room anymore for, I mean, I don't think that way, but there's no room for anymore for that.
Right.
Everyone needs to start winning, you know?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so I like to end these
Mm.
things with like talk a little bit about your mindset and your motivation to move forward from like working with photography and working with people.
Yeah.
Is where do you go from here? You know, I know you're at the bottom right now. You
Mm-hmm.
know, but what's your motivation with photography and what's your mindset? Like, where do you want to go next with it?
Where do I want to go next? That is a great question, because I'll be truthful. I'm just taking this day by day right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I'm paying attention. Like I'm coming home actually to Delaware for 2 weeks, December 16th to the 30th. I'm just literally paying attention. Like, okay, today's December. What? Like, what's on the schedule today? Do I have anything? And then where is the extra room to start really figuring out like what I'm doing with this photography? Um, I built two businesses from pressure,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not doing that this time around. I've hit the burnout before. I've hit all the things that entrepreneurs go through, and I'm just not doing it with this business. So I'm letting the decisions come a little bit more slowly. I'm taking my time with it. I'm trusting that it's all going to come. Right now I do have a mentor that I'm going to be learning under, who's a photographer, and we'll get some practice sessions in.
Mm.
Because I'm such a hands-on learner.
Mm-hmm.
So that is
Yeah.
something that is coming up for January. I am booking for January sessions. Right. I'm focusing on just like educating myself as much as I can and putting myself out there, whether I'm ready or not, to just book sessions and book sessions. And that's kind of just my focal point. Like just get out there, practice the craft, and then figure out, where to go after that.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, it definitely sounds
Yeah.
like you already have a plan. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's like kind of there. It's kind of
yeah,
there. It's not
yeah.
fully detailed, but I kind of know the direction.
Nah, man, that's cool. But
Yeah. Thank you.
what camera are you using right now?
We're using the Canon Rebel T7i, and I'm
Ah, okay.
learning a lot about camera equipment. My God.
Yeah, there's a lot to
My,
learn.
oh my God. It's a little overwhelming. We're good though. We're good. But yeah, that's what I have right now.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I use a T6, Canon T6,
Okay. So
and then
okay.
and I use a 50 millimeter lens. You know,
50. Yes.
yeah, so
Yep.
they call it a nifty 50.
I think I have
But
that one. It's the little guy. He's kind
it's
of shorter.
it's a little one, but it's like a big zoom.
Yes.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. Okay, I have that one.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and then And then I got a Canon G7X.
No,
It's a point and shoot. You ever heard of those? Yeah.
No, I gotta learn all this.
But you'll learn because I mean you're definitely using the right camera for your type of thing.
Yeah. That's I learned too. Like there's different cameras and lenses for all the different things. Lord.
Yeah, there you go. And then you learn how to use Photoshop and Lightroom and Illustrator and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, I'm diving into it. I'm diving into graphic design. I have all three: Illustrator, photo, like pressing buttons, figuring it out. It's a good time. It's fun.
No, it is, and there's always something new to learn, and that's the fun part about it.
So much, yeah, and there's so much room for your own creativity, which is I love. You can just put yourself into it.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to plug or anything?
No plugs because I'm literally at the ground up. I mean, y'all can come hang out and follow this because I think that's one thing I do want to do is I want to document building this thing from the ground up because we don't see that in the online space right now. We see the business at the level that it's at and everyone's all fancy pants with it. People don't see the 12-hour work days late at night. So I think I might start documenting it. So if you want to come hang out and follow along, I don't know if you link Facebooks and Instagrams around here, but I can give you the handle and you guys can come hang out.
Yeah, there you go. I was about to say, are you putting your pictures that you take on Instagram at all?
Yes, I am.
All right.
Yep. Yeah, so come check them out.
All right. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, Melissa, I thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it too.
Definitely. All right. Well, I'll see you around.
All right. Thank you. All
right. No problem. Bye.
Bye.
Wanting something good to come.